What's the housing market like in Nashville, Tennessee? Is it time to sell? Is it time to buy? Are we in a bubble? What do the economists say, and what are the predictions for 2019, 2020, and beyond? Let's talk about that right now. So, what's happening in the Nashville market? Are we in a housing bubble? I'm Susan Thetford with Parks Properties. I've been a realtor here for 36 years and I'm a native Nashvilleian. I know a thing or two about our market. So you may have heard this bandied around all over. What's happening in the Nashville real estate market? Are we in a bubble? How's the market? Is it time to buy? Is it time to sell? Are we headed for a recession? Those are all phenomenal questions that, frankly, if you are a realtor, you get asked all the time. Whether you're standing in Green Hills in the Hill Center trying to buy clothes, somebody stops me all the time and says, "Tell me what's going on in the market." We got to talk about that right now. It's not gloom and doom. Please don't worry. Let's get some real information. So I was listening today to a great webinar by Tom Ferry, who is a real estate coach, and Steve Harvey. We call Steve Harvey the Oracle of Real Estate because he was the one of the first economists who predicted the massive recession that we all know and still remember very well, 2007, 2008, 2009. And I was listening to that. He's also the founder of KCM, which is Keeping Current Matters. And that is so true. Understanding what is a recession, what is a housing bubble, what caused that last recession, and are we going there, all makes sense once you understand what each piece of that means. So you may have been seeing me on my Facebook Lives and different places talking about the fact that listings are staying on the home a little bit longer than maybe a year or so ago. You're also seeing that there are more price adjustments than we've recently seen. Those are very, very true. But does that mean we're headed for a recession? You know, it's so funny. I remember clearly a year ago, really frustrated and talking to so many of my realtor friends and buyers because we were in bidding wars. There was very little inventory, much pent-up demand. The rates were too low, actually artificially low, and we were having 7, 8, 9 people in bidding wars for the same piece of property, and we were worried because that meant that homes were selling fast and for above what the real market would pay if things were just not quite so emotional. So a year ago we were praying for a slowdown so we wouldn't have a massive bubble pop. We were praying for that, and we've gotten it. We no longer are having a 12% appreciation annually. It's more like 6% in the last 6 or so months. That's a doable consistency. That's okay. That's safe. We were praying for less of the emotional buys of a bidding war because here's the deal. As a realtor, I never want someone coming back to me in 2 years and saying, "You promised me we could sell this for more money." 2 years is not enough time to season. And when we're in 12% markets, you cannot withstand that. So we were praying for a softening and more realistic market, and we've now got that. So yes, it has slowed down a little bit, but does that mean we're on an impending recession path and it's falling fast? No. Let's think about it. We definitely had a second quarter slowdown. Easy for me to say. We definitely had a second quarter slowdown. But a recession does not mean housing crash. And that last '08 recession that did coincide with a housing bubble and crash is what people get kind of mixed up and think they all go together. They do not. Here's the definition of a recession. A recession is 2 straight quarters where the economy has slowed down and decreased in values. Now, In 08, 09, that is what happened. The housing market dropped at the very same time of that recession. But recession does not mean housing crash. In fact, according to this statistics and the information that I was reading from Steve Harvey the other day, in the last 6 recessions, 6 in the United States, only the last one in 07, 08, 09, only the last one had price decreases in the housing market. The previous 5, either the housing market stayed stable, stayed about the same, it just didn't have appreciation, or it dropped a maximum of 1 to 2% in the last 5 recessions. So as you can see, our last recession coincided with the housing bubble, and that's where people are getting the real fear. And they're 2 different things. They don't go hand in hand. So let's breathe. In a recent poll with 100 of the nation's leading housing economists, 94% believe that in the next year, in 2019 up to 2020, we will have 94% believe that we will have an approvable, quiet appreciation of about 4%. Now that still beats inflation. That's a win. And that is prolongable at a rate that is prolongable. Now of the 100%, 4% believes that we will have a drop in appreciation, a drop in values, a little bit, just slightly, and 2% believes that we're going to just stay even. Maybe no appreciation. That's okay. So those leading economists, 94% believe that we're going to still continue to appreciate a little bit. A house is not a short-term investment, and I think people have gotten that kind of mixed up in their heads. It is not a short-term investment. In the next 5 years, 100% of those economists believe that we will be back at a little bit higher appreciation rate in the next 5 years. So here's the thing. As I said, real estate is not a short-term investment. If you're looking for that, look elsewhere. It is a long-term investment that you live in, that appreciates, that you get depreciation from. You also get tax deductions. So there's so many benefits in addition to the appreciation that I think many people kind of lose sight on. So Susan, I get it. I hear what you're saying, but the fact is interest rates have gone up and I think I'm out of the market. That's such a matter of perspective. So I actually kind of got to laugh. When I first started the business, 87, the interest rates were 17 and 18%. Actually, that was kind of the beginnings of the adjustable rate mortgages, which is kind of the beginnings of our crash of 08. But that's a whole nother matter. So here's the deal. About 50% of buyers right now, certainly first-time buyers, are millennials. Millennials are experiencing sticker shock, and so are their parents. When they talk to them here in the Nashville area, a parent who's not familiar with the Sylvan Park area and how fast it's grown still remembers Sylvan Park as being pricing at the $120,000, $130,000 price point. They don't remember it as the area that it is now, with the shops, the restaurants, the neighborhood, the sidewalks, the explosion of renovations and new homes that is there, that has kicked those prices up to $550,000 to $1 million. That's sticker shock. The parents experience it, the kids experience it, the interest rates going up a little bit, people are throwing their hands up. Just go, I'm out of the market, can't do it. Let's talk about sticker shock. I understand that. I experienced sticker shock when I was trying to find my own new car. I have a 2-door Mini. I love my 2-door Mini, but my son was expecting my first grandchild. And I needed a car that had 4 doors that I could get that baby car seat in because I'm taking Sophia with me. So when I started looking, I too had sticker shock. I couldn't believe how expensive a 4-door Mini Cooper was, and I wasn't even looking for a new one. I wanted very low mileage because I was letting somebody else take the depreciation. but I still couldn't believe how expensive it was. So here's what I did. I went out and looked for other cars that I would like as much. They were not anything I liked as much and more expensive. I'm now in my four-door Mini. That's what's happening now a little bit, I believe, with the millennials. Think about it. Your older brother in '07, the interest rates were 6.25. When he bought higher than you are currently right now, even though we have gone up a little bit and we've actually softened again. So we're under 5% in most cases right now. Your older brother, when he bought in '07, bought at 6.25. Your uncle, when he bought in '97, the interest rate was 8.25. All the way back in '83, 14%. The rates are still historically low, and it should take no one who is a buyer, who is a legit buyer, out of the market. And here's the thing. Rents are still going up. Finding 1,000 square foot rental close into town is costing in many, many cases as much as buying a home, as much as the mortgage. Doesn't have the depreciation, doesn't have the appreciation, doesn't have the tax deductibility of home ownership, and those rates are going up for rentals. So that sticker shock has to be compared to what you're actually paying by not owning, and it's costing you a lot. So this is fascinating. Back to Steve Harvey's webinar. Millennials have been surveyed. I mean, we study millennials. That's a big piece of our market. Surveyed to ask what are their top 3 goals. The number 1 goal was saving for retirement. They're brilliant. We got to quit dissing millennials. Saving for retirement, buying a home, and getting married. Wow, they're doing it right. So here's the thing. The very best way to save for retirement is in buying a home. It's proven that an adult who's 60, who rents, has less than a $10,000 net worth. An adult, 60 years old, retirement age, getting to that, has less than a $10,000 net worth. An owner, occupant, 60 years old, close to retirement, on average has over $90,000 of net worth. Which can you use longer in retirement? The way for a millennial or any of us to be able to save for retirement, to hit their number 1 goal, is to own a home. Whether it is because of the depreciation of the interest, whether it's because it's forced savings because you have to pay your mortgage or you lose your home, whether it's a flat appreciation of 4% over 30 years, that's still a giant nest egg, good equity, and savings for retirement. So are we headed for a recession? Yes. All it means is 2 quarters of an economic slowdown. Are we headed for a crash, a bubble in the residential housing market here in the Nashville, Tennessee area? I don't think so. We have decelerated to a point that's sustainable. And we still have about 90 people a day moving into our city. So if you're waiting for the prices to go down, I think you'll be waiting a long time and spending a lot of money. If you're waiting for the interest rates to go down, you've missed that little 0.25%. Let's talk about the fact that those numbers are minuscule when you're looking at a big picture. Who should not buy right now? Someone who won't be here for longer than 2 years. I'll say that. Someone who's not planning to be here in the Nashville community and they're sure they're not going to be here for more than 2 years shouldn't buy, because there are costs of selling. If this is information and the type of straight talk that you like about real estate, I ask you, please subscribe to my button by pushing the button below. Hit the bell so you don't miss a thing. I do a new video every single week. And if you, like me, love knowing the people is what makes Nashville such a phenomenal place. I interview weekly native Nashvillians who can talk to us about all the things that make Nashville so tremendous. I love Nashville. I know you will too.